With Eshomomoy Mudu and Tijesu Adeoye in our Abuja studio for the conversation around the controversies and concerns being generated with the tax reform public hearing. Good morning, Eshomomo. Good morning, Tijesu. Happy belated birthday, Tijesu. Yesterday was your birthday.
Oh. How are you guys?
Birthday mood.
Well, as you can see.
Good morning, Veronica, and good morning, Toma.
Yes, it's been a while I saw you.
Yeah, nice to have you back home.
Thank you, my dear.
All right, you can now take it away now.
Interestingly, March is a loaded month, and we're already on the third day of Ramadan.
Yes.
And so we say Ramadan Kareem to our Muslim faithful.
Exactly.
And also on Wednesday, I guess also the Christian will start their Lent. So it's a blessed month. And
very
everyone
loaded
in March
and blessed.
are blessed. Thanks for joining us on this segment of the program. And the recently concluded public hearing on the tax reform bills is still igniting a fierce debate among lawmakers, tax professionals, industry leaders, and religious organizations. While the reforms aim to create a fairer and more efficient tax system, opposition from various quarters is threatening to derail the initiative. President Bola Tinubu introduced the tax reform bills in October 2024 to simplify tax collection, curb evasion, and increase government revenue without overburdening citizens. Now, the bills also aim to close loopholes and ensure that large corporations contribute their fair share. And for many years, Nigeria's tax structure had remained inefficient with leakages, multiple taxes, and over-reliance on oil money.
However, strong opposition has emerged on several fronts. Religious organizations, including Supreme Council for Sharia in Nigeria and the Committee of FCT Imams initiatives, have objected to the inheritance tax, arguing that it infringes on religious rights. Another point of contention came from the Nigerian Customs Service, which argued that the reforms could interfere with its operational duties. But according to the lawmakers, the reform will help government agencies collaborate more effectively and fix long-standing revenue collection problems. Despite the fierce opposition, supporters insist that the reforms are necessary. And for more on this very important bill, let's speak with the chairman of the Senate Committee on Finance, Senator Sani Musa. It's good to have you on the program, Senator.
Exactly.
Good morning.
Good
morning to you too. Now let's start with the realization of President Bola Tinubu's desire for a $1 trillion economy. How will the implementation of the tax reforms enhance this goal when passed into law?
Thank you for your very decisive question. The tax reform bills, I believe that it's one agenda by Mr. President to see that he propel the economy of Nigeria to where it should be. It's a necessity as far as I'm concerned, because knowing and looking at the details of the bills, I believe Mr. President have done an in-depth study of the circumstances that can lead us to having a robust economy. And bringing this bill almost like about 5 months ago today is 3rd March. These bills were presented to the House and the Senate on 3rd of October 2024 by Mr. President, His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, with the aim of bringing in a new tax administration, a new policy that will enhance more revenue for the country. So looking at the bills that Mr. President has presented, I believe that fundamentally they are bringing some changes just to the institutional agencies that are opposed to collecting these taxes from Nigerians, and for it to be enhanced and make more efficient, more accountable, and more prudent for Nigerians to see that the tax that is being collected is judiciously being also expended. So I believe Mr. President is in the right direction, and the National Assembly too have really studied these bills, and we believe that it's a necessity. You can see the response from the public hearing we had, both in the Senate and the House, which I believe were very successful. We have been able to gather all the kind of prompts, either for or against the bills. We've been able to have all those submissions, and we're going to look at them critically to be able to make the best legislation that Nigerians will welcome and appreciate what we've done.
Okay, I think it's quite commendable, these tax reform bills, but we begin to have some caution from some organizations, like we said earlier. A particular faith group is asking that there should be some delays. For instance, they're asking that technology should be delayed. While in some quarters also they feel that for it to be very efficient, we need to take it, the human interface, reduce human interface in the collection and adopt technology. Now, how do you, at the National Assembly, how do you intend to harmonize the various objections, the various cautions that are raised by this group to ensure that we have a good tax system and also the one that we can implement, not just a policy?
Thank you. You see, what it is like we are having four different bills which they all interrelate. And we as legislators, we believe that if we consolidate these bills into one, we'll be able to bring a legislation that is going to be near perfect for this country. When people are saying we don't need to adopt technology immediately, no, you see, everything has a phase. And I believe that when we are able to pass these laws, we should be able to also require whichever agency, if it is the Nigerian Revenue Service, to start adopting technology. I mean, there is no reason for not adopting technology to this. Because when you look at other countries that have adopted this system and what we are trying to also do, look at simple example, look at South Africa today. South Africa, in population, there's just about 45 million people. We are over 200 and something million people. When you look at the resources South Africa has and you look at the resources Nigeria has, you will see that when you compare to our GDP and then the tax to GDP ratio, you will see that ours is very low, very, very low. If you compare other African countries and other climes, you will see that Nigeria, we are not yet there. Where our tax to GDP ratio is very, very low. Our revenue is seriously under. I don't know how to put it right, but I can tell you that the revenue we collect is far less than what we supposed to be collecting. And why? Because we did not put the right tools, the right legislation. Most of these legislations are archaic. There are legislations that have been enacted almost about more, even they are at first Nigeria. There are laws that were enacted in 1959, and we are still having them. And when the world is moving in the right direction, I mean, technologically. So I don't see why we will not adopt technology. If you go to Singapore and you see the single window they adopt, everything is seamless and there is accountability, there's prudency. So I believe that what Mr. President have done and what we are trying to do in putting this legislation, we are trying to change the face of the economy of this country. And I believe so much that these bills have what it takes to give Nigeria the 1 trillion.
All right, Senator Sani Musa, we'll come back to you, but we'll take this quick commercial break now. The conversation continues after this break. Stay with us. And we're talking to the chairman of the Senate Committee on Finance, Senator Sani Musa. Now, Senator, some experts have warned that the tax bills may undermine the duties and responsibility of the Nigerian customs. They say that shifting customs revenue collection to a new agency might erode the technical expertise essential for trade regulation and revenue generation. How is the National Assembly looking into this issue? Thanks for that. Well, Senator, if you can hear me, I was asking, some experts have warned that the tax reform bills may undermine the duties of the Nigerian customs. They say shifting customs revenue collection to a new agency might erode the technical expertise essential for trade regulation and revenue collection. How is the National Assembly attending to these issues?
As far as I know, the Nigerian tax bill seeks to modernize and simplify the country's taxation system. So when someone is saying it's going to take over or erode, I don't understand what that means, because what the aim of the legislation is all about is to see how we can consolidate and bring the tax regulations into a cohesive legal framework that will be workable. So when agencies that's supposed to also align with the system feel maybe their jobs is going to be taken over or it will erode their functionality, I believe it's a matter of synergy, how we can synergize, how federal inland revenue, when it is transformed into Nigerian Revenue Service, will be able to synergize with all these agencies. Customs, by their acts and understanding of what they do kind of assessments, they do inspection of cargoes, they do assessments, and then I don't think they have any problem to where the revenue will be going to. Because even as it is today, I don't think Nigerian customs collect revenue. They only assess, and you go to the bank and make payment, and that payment goes directly to TSA or remitter, any of the platform that goes into the consolidated revenue fund of the Federation. So I don't think there's any issue. And even if there are issues, that is the reason why we call for the public hearing. That is the reason why we ask for memoranda. That's the reason why we need experts' opinions in order to shape the mode of what law we are going to bring out. So I believe the environment requires innovation, and it also requires understanding by all, so that technologically we will be able to adopt for efficient tax system for this country. And I will want to appeal to agencies to wait and see the outcome of what we are going to provide, because we know when you are used to a system, when change is coming, it's a bit difficult, but I think it's a change that will take it smoothly, and it's a change that will take it one after the other to make sure that we arrive at where we want to be. I was citing the example before the line went off with South Africa. If you look at what South Africa is collecting, South Africa last year collected close to about $95 billion in revenue. How much, when you compare even the annual budget of Nigeria, how much is it? So I believe it is necessary, it is a necessity that we enhance accountability within the tax administration of this country in the overall interest of everyone. These reforms, I believe, are designed to strengthen Nigerian fiscal policy and fiscal institutions, stimulate growth, and then make Nigeria to be part of the advanced economies. So for the customs, we have had interactions with the Controller General of Nigerian Customs, and he has shed light where we feel it's necessary for us to see how we can consolidate and how we can synergize. We will do it. Ours is to make the law that is workable, and we are ready to do that. We are going in for retreats, and from the retreat, we are going to also engage all these agencies once again with their experts to come and tell us why they think is going to erode their operations. But we believe that these bills are necessary to transform the economy of this country.
Okay, distinguished. I think it's quite instructive, the aspect that you say you're going for a retreat and you'll invite some of these stakeholders to come and again present their positions and what they think is the alternative to what they're suggesting. But let me also bring this in. This proposed tax reform bills, does it in any way translate to centralization of collection? Because you also have states, a lot of states that depend on their IGR to survive. And how do you intend to harmonize the drive by the various subnationals to survive? And also the need for us to have an intensive collection system that improves our general revenue.
Thank you. You see, the whole thing about the tax reform bills is to see how we can focus in bringing, the several key objectives aimed at creating a tax framework that works. If you look at today, look at the budget. I give you a simple example. When the Joint Committee of Finance in the National Assembly had this revenue investigative sessions, you will see at the end of the day we were able to realize close to about almost 5-point-something trillion from revenues that have not been earlier declared, which we know it undermines accountability. So what this tax system is trying to reform is it wants to adopt a kind of technological system that will enhance both the collection, the assessment, and the collection. How does it work? When you are talking about the single window, if you go to Singapore and see how Singapore deployed the single window mechanism in their tax collection, in their revenue drive, and in the operations of agencies like the customs, like the port authority, like NIMASA, almost every agency that has to do with revenue generation are linked under one single platform, of which right from your office as either auditor or a supervisor or an investigator or what have you, you can just get an access through just keyboards and you'll be able to see what revenue have been generated in the country. And for me, it enhances accountability. And that is one of the cardinal principles that these bills are trying to bring. Furthermore, this bill encourages compliance because at this moment, a lot of Nigerians, a lot of us, we hardly pay our taxes. And by the time these things is linked to technology and within a one single drive, you will see that we will be having a process that simplifies tax processes, tax collection, and ultimately, it is aiming to attract domestic and foreign businesses to come. Because with the right tax regime, with the right tax administration, with the right tax legislation, you will see that investors will have confidence in coming to do business with Nigeria. And I believe that these are some of the multiplier effects in terms of gains that these tax bills are trying to bring to this country. I will give you some examples now. When you look at the system, like where you go manually or physically to make some payments, and this payments is being handed to somebody, there's always this issue of either misappropriation or some fraudulent acts will come in. But a situation where I'm being assessed based on, I'm bringing in a container, I'm being assessed based on the HS code of whatever item I'm bringing, the rate is already there. All I need to do after the assessment, and they believe that this is exactly what they have seen in the container is what I have declared. All I need to do is just to go link up to that platform. I might not even need to go to any bank to make any payments. All I need to do is to link up to that system and make my payments. And within few hours, it will show, within few minutes, it will show in every of the sections of the port. And all I need to do in less than 12 hours, I will be able to get my container out of the ports. So this system, I believe, is going to be something that we should, we should like this system, not for the sake of ourselves, but for the sake of this country. A lot of billions of naira is going down the drain in the hands of some few individuals. And we believe this is the only way that we'll be able to bring accountability, provide a taxing system that you and I will believe. Because if you believe in what you are being taxed, you'll be paying your tax. If there are infrastructures constructed based on the fact that it is the money that has been collected from you, you will not have any reason not to pay. You are having 24/7 electricity, 24/7 water system, you have good roads, your children are going to the best of schools. I mean, what else do you ask of?
Well, so, Senator,
in my little opinion, I believe that the tax reform is a necessity for this country if we really want to move on. And I want to use this opportunity to commend Mr. President, because it takes a president who is very decisive and a visionary president, a visionary leader, to be able to look, whatever the odds, I want to bring sanity into a system that is not working so that that system will work. So I will want to use this opportunity once again to commend Mr. President for having this bold initiative in bringing these tax reform bills. When people were talking, I have had the submissions of the Sharia Council, I've had submission from the Imams, I've had submissions from northern groups, I've also had submissions from the Christian Association of Nigeria. All those areas of concern they have raised, the committees will look into them. And when you look at the issue of inheritance, it's already in our law books. So I think the committee will do just what it's supposed to do, because we don't want any segment of this country to feel they are either shortchanged or marginalized. This is a law for all, and we'll make sure that religious groups are adequately considered and their concerns taken care of.
Well, it's a good one you mentioned the inheritance tax, Senator, because this is an issue that has raised quite a number of concerns among some Nigerians. They are worried about how that applies and how the National Assembly is addressing that. Also, there's the argument about the VAT being a consumption tax, which should be attached, to the state where it is generated. However, this can only be sustained in a country with a long established and relatively advanced tax system. How is the National Assembly, looking into also this issue? How can this be measured? I'm talking about, the VAT as a consumption tax. How can it be measured? How can it be tracked?
You see, the system we are looking at, or the legislation we're looking at, is a legislation that we feel, no matter how the complexity, should be able to work. We don't want to bring a legislation that I and you, because office is just for a term, for a period. It's transient. You will leave that office, but the laws that we want to make for this country is a law that we feel it will live the test of time. And when you are talking about taxes, every taxation should also come with equity. When you are asking me to pay something, you should be able to, also you that you are asking me to pay, you should be able to justify why I am going to pay for that. So when you are talking about the consumption tax, I believe VAT everywhere, even by its definition, it's like you are adding value to something that you are consuming. And once it is a consumption tax, I don't think there should be any issue towards that. We are a country that is evolving at the moment. We are trying to, if you look at what NIMC, Nigerian Identity Management Commission is doing, if you look at other agencies like what the Nigerian Bureau for Statistics are also doing, taking data, all we need in order to implement the right tax framework is for us to be able to also have the right data. And we cannot have the right data without the use of technology. And you're bringing in this legislation does not mean if the president signed this legislation today and today this starts working and you get it 100%. No, there is nothing like that. This is a system that when we put this legislation right, you can imagine some of the laws that we're working with now have been there for over 60-something years. So if we have such laws for over 60-something years, and some of them are even idle, nobody cares about them, nobody even remembers what they're doing. And then there are even laws that we have enacted, and today they have outfaced the relevance or the exigency of the time that they were enacted. They have changed. So look at example again with the free zones. There are a lot of questions that have, a lot of issues that have come up with the free zones operation. And the law, these bills tend to correct certain things. And where we feel it's not yet time for us to adopt, we will make it. Look, law is not cast in stone. It's not static. Law can be changed at any time.
Okay.
So what we are trying to do is to see the implementation of the single window. It takes over a period of time. It's not going to be something that you will deploy today, and even technology, you don't deploy it and think you can have a perfection in it. It takes time. So we are going to do it, and we are looking at a framework of between now and the next 5 years, Nigerian's tax system should evolve and make Nigeria much better.
Okay, distinguished. I just will quickly bring in this, the value-added tax. Some are asking that it should not be increased because at the end of the day, whatever is the figure in the value-added tax, the burden is translated to consumers. The people will feel the brunt of it. That is on one side. Then also, are you considering also a special court? For instance, when the National Assembly brought in the EFCC, there was this argument also that they should not be the ones that sells the assets, the seize. And also, INEC is also asking for a separate body to prosecute. Now, don't you think you will need a special court, for instance, to prosecute defaulters and to ensure that this agency that is going to come out of this is not too powerful? Some people are putting it on that check.
Thank you very much. I don't want to jump the gun, but what you just asked about special tax or special court or what have you, the bills actually come with those provisions whereby we will have a tribunal, and then we will also have an ombudsman who will mediate if there is any issue in terms of arbitration. We will also, in doing our job, we will make sure that whatever, because most of the issues we have in this country is when somebody defaulted, when somebody goes against the law, you hardly see that punitive actions have been taken. Yeah. So the committee is seriously looking at where defaulters, what we should do to defaulters. There are so many ways. You don't actually have to take somebody to the prison for you to get for that person to be punished. Agency, when you have entities, big blue chip entities that don't pay their taxes or undercut in paying their taxes, like not giving the right declaration during assessment or under assessing what they have earned. There are things that these bills came with, and we will look at them seriously, and we'll be able to see and give justification to every of those things so that we see where we felt there's more punitive action that should be taken. Someone need to be punished or an entity need to be really punished. You can see it even in the United States where blue chip companies, for just slightest little breach of their laws, they have been fined huge amount of money. Or else, I don't want to really elaborate here what actions we need to take until when we get to those clauses and we see what we need to do with them. And when you are talking about the VAT, it's a value-added tax. Everyone knows about that. But when you are talking about the base model that should be used, that Nigerians will believe that the distribution is fair and equitable. We will also look at that, and we believe that the committee has the experience in terms of what we have all done before to see how we can put these things in the right perspective for Nigerians to believe that this is a law that is workable. And you recall that Mr. President said, give me a law that is workable. And we are hoping and very hopeful that we are going to give Mr. President and give Nigeria the legislation that is working.
Right, thank you so much, Senator Sani Musa, for your contributions on the program. It was nice talking to you this morning. Thank you so much.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Well, that's it from us here in Abuja. It's back to you in Lagos, Veronica and Etoma.